Welcome to Pennington Place. It's a beautiful day. I am going to show you how to make biscuits nice and easy. This is a cup. I use self-rising flour, and the flour amount depends on how many biscuits you're going to make. I'm not going to do too many, so I'm just going to do 3 cups of flour. And since it's self-rising, I don't have to add anything else. If you used regular flour with 3 cups, you'd probably want to add 3 teaspoons of baking powder and maybe a teaspoon of salt. But since I'm not, so I got my 3 cups of flour here. Let me try to get the shadow out. There we go. 3 cups of flour, and then I'm going to do about 3/4 a cup of Crisco. Now, this is where your flakiness comes in. So you're going to mix this in. Actually, this is a pastry blender. You're going to blend it in. You're just going to beat it and beat it and beat it. Mix it and mix it and mix it until you get a nice fine texture to it. It's almost going to be like a chunky cornmeal. You don't want to leave your chunks of Crisco too large, because then your biscuits won't be as flaky. They'll be more flat, because that grease, when it cooks, will just flatten everything out. So get this blended in really good. Now, of course, that's getting nice and simple, just like that. Let me grab some milk. So 2 ingredients so far: self-rising flour, Crisco, and we're going to add our milk. I'm just going to mix this up. The nice thing about self-rising flour is it's, number one, easy. The second nice thing is if you get too much milk, you add a little bit more flour, you still have all the baking powder and everything in there that you need. Okay, so that was nice and quick and easy. So next what we're going to do, let me set this aside. Next what we're going to do is put a little bit of flour out here, because we're going to get these biscuits cut. Get that out of the way. So let's get our biscuit dough out onto the flour that we put there. The one thing with biscuit dough that you want to be careful with, you don't want to knead it too much. When you knead it too much, they become thicker and heavier, and biscuits should be nice and light and flaky. Okay, so there's all my dough. Put a tiny bit of flour on top so that I can work it, and we're just going to work it to where it's not all sticky, and we can cut it out and get it on the cookie sheet. I bake mine on a cookie sheet because I like to put butter over it. So it's nice and dry right now. I've got a good flour seal on the outside. So I'm just going to use my hands instead of a rolling pin and get it flattened out. And again, when you're flattening, it's your choice. It's your choice if you want thicker biscuits or thinner biscuits. I'm used to kind of in between. As long as your biscuit cutter will fit it, you're okay. So I am going to pull just a basic generic circle cutter. There we go, there's one. Works perfect. And how simple was that? Self-rising flour, 3 cups, about 3/4 cup of Crisco. Use a pastry blender or fork, blend it in, and then add milk, a little bit of milk, mix it If you need to add a little bit more milk, mix it until you just get it moist so that you can get it out. You don't want it too dry, you don't want it soupy or too moist. So I'm going to get all these cut and I'll get them on the pan. I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees. It's important that you cook your biscuits at a high temperature. If you cook them at a lower temperature, they tend to overcook. You want them to cook quick to get crispy on the outside and the bottom, and the inside stays nice and soft and moist. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes or so. My biscuits are almost done. So what I do is I've melted a half a cup of butter, and I just drizzle my biscuits with the butter. And then I finish cooking them. It absorbs in the bottom crust, it absorbs on the top and makes a great, I haven't cleaned my oven for a while, so excuse the mess. Put these back in, let them finish up. Whoops! And we'll have biscuits done in a minute. Now what I'm doing now is I'm getting my sausage browned because we're going to make some sausage gravy too. I'm going to show you how easy this stuff is. Everyone says, oh, I can't do biscuits, I can't do gravies. This is basic cooking 101. If you master this, you can do anything. This is pretty easy stuff. You just have to have the confidence to do it. So I've browned up a roll of sausage, breakfast sausage. I've added a little oil because the sausage I use don't have a lot of oil in it, and you want some oil because you're going to make a roux. A roux is a thick, floury paste with this, and that's what's going to make our gravy, to make it thickened. So I'm going to finish getting this browned, and I'll bring you in when we start making it. Okay, so we're ready to start making our roux, and this is nice and simple. It's just flour. I just brought a cup with me, and you're going to add a little bit and stir it in. And how to gauge it is you don't want it soupy runny like that. You want it to get a little thicker. So you just add enough until you get a little thicker, a little chunkier. I never go more than a cup. That was a cup right there. So see, it's getting thicker. Okay, so that's a roux. I'm going to turn the heat up, and we're going to cook that just a little bit longer. I'm going to add my salt and my pepper. And this is just to add to taste. You can wait till after you're done making your gravy for salt and pepper. It'd be a lot easier. I've just been doing this for so many years now that it's like second nature to me. So we got this turned up. Let's get our roux good and bubbling. One of my favorite cast iron skillets. Cast iron's great for doing gravies in, by the way. Okay, it's good and bubbly. And that's what we want. So now, here we come adding the milk, okay? We're going to add a little bit, stir it in, get it all mixed up, and it'll start thickening. You'll feel it, you'll see it, it'll start thickening up. As it thickens, you add more. You got to keep stirring because you don't want big lumps everywhere. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab, I'm going to trade out my utensils here. I'm going to trade out for my whisk. Okay, I still got the heat up on high because you want everything to get good and hot. See, it's getting thick. It's getting a lot thicker. I can feel it when I'm stirring it, how thick it's getting. And gravy is one of those wonderful things you can do to whatever consistency you like. I like a thicker gravy, but not super runny. So I like mine like in between. Not so thick that you can spoon it, but yet not so thin that it just runs off of my biscuits. I like my gravy when I put it on my biscuits, it goes over the sides of my biscuits, hits the plate, but it doesn't run off my biscuits. And you know it's done thickening when it starts bubbling good and it's the right consistency you want it. That's why I keep it on high. Make sure I get all the corners. See, it's good and hot, it's steaming good. I'm sure if I left it alone, I'm getting bubbles. Right there's the consistency I want it. If I wanted it thinner, not so thick, I'd add a little bit more milk and I'd keep on stirring. So our gravy's done. I'm going to turn that off. And it's an electric stove, so it'll keep cooking a little bit. I need to just pull that off the burner. I'm used to gas stove. I like gas better. If the gas stove, you turn the heat off and the heat's done. I'm just going to move that. So there's my gravy. Let's take a peek. Biscuits are absolutely beautiful. They're done just right. They're flaky. See that? See how flaky those are? They're wonderfully flaky. The bottoms are browned with butter. The tops are browned with butter. They're perfect. Okay, so here you go. 2 biscuits. A little bit of gravy. Oh, look at that. It doesn't get no better than this, I'm telling you. Okay, we're going to dig in. We're going to sit down at the table with the girls. I'll get some scrambled eggs going. Those won't take long at all, and we're going to eat. So our meal is ready. I've got some farm fresh eggs I'm going to get scrambled up. So that's it. How easy is sausage gravy and biscuits to make, and inexpensive. I hope this has helped you. These are the way my mom made it, the way my grandmother made it. I'm even using the biscuit cutter. These are my grandmother's things. So, you know, it just goes on generation to generation, and hopefully I've taught my daughter. Hopefully my granddaughters will pick up, and we'll just keep it going. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Till we talk again, God bless. Bye-bye.